Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Hangover Shitshow. The one place in the temple where we say the black pill is bad for your health and we will make you spit that out. We are not asking. Because I think every one of us knows the Heimlich maneuver.
I don't, but, with my tentacles, we could do other ways.
Is that where you take and you grow tiny little wings on your back so you can be a beautiful butterfly?
I'm finished. Finally, I'm a beautiful butterfly.
But, yes, obviously the Game Awards was 2 days ago. And, no, I did not watch, because as I said on Twitter, people end up being disappointed out of the Game Awards, and, you knew the Game Awards reputation and you watched anyways. Y'all a bunch of dumbasses. And I'm not talking to lawyers at Dumas and Dumas. Straight up dumbasses.
I like watching because I like watching car crashes.
I can get that to a point, but when it's the same kind of car crash multiple times over, it's less appealing. For the same reason that as much as I would make fun of certain teams, eventually it just got repetitive. Like, I can only make fun of the Anaheim Ducks in so many ways when at this point it's like, can you at least get your shit together for 5 minutes so I can talk about something else? Or the running gag we had a few years ago with Bethesda, where they kept finding new ways to screw up to the point where I was talking about them every single week over something new.
Hey, it never gets tired making fun of Calgary Flames.
Come on to the tar sand avalanche. Although if I'm talking about Canadian hockey teams, the Leafs will always be my number one whipping boy.
The Leafs are the world's number one whipping boy, Monk. That's a tautology.
Yeah,
that is true.
It's not like I go out of my way to do it. It's just, one, it's funny to see Steve Dangle lose his absolute shit. Two, they kind of do it to themselves because every year they keep going, oh, this is going to be the year we're going back to the Cup. And I'm like, you've been saying that for 50 years. And then Boston happens. As soon as I see them being matched up, I'm like, oh god, this is going to go the way it has before. I'm like, don't panic. It's all good unless it goes to Game 7 in Boston. 1 week later, it goes to Game 7 in Boston. Okay, now start panicking. Like that whole "this is no time to panic" from Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some announcements during it. Some of them we'll be talking about. But of the 45 or so games that I have on the playlist for this, I'd say only a third at most were from the Game Awards, because there were a few other showcases in that same span of time this week.
Yeah.
PC Gaming Most Wanted, a few other showcases. Some whose subject matter I find to be a bit redundant, but that's another story. A few surprises, one of which I've told some of you guys about. Some stuff that slipped under the radar, some stuff we've already talked about, but I want an excuse to talk about it more. And others that basically much like every time I do this, the majority of the games that are on the list are indie games that a lot of the other pundits, even ones who should know better, aren't talking about. And that's the reason I do this particular format every few months, because there's so much out there that isn't being discussed, and since the people who know better aren't discussing it, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. That end, I have been, for those of you who are new, I have been very, very vocal about my utter disdain for black pill thinking.
Yeah, we like a We like to embrace the endless potential that is out there.
And
Because
as an aside,
in-
I kind of hinted at this. It is kind of funny that the same people who have that black pill attitude are the same people who try to minimize the impact of mecha in anime.
there's an overlap, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I know correlation doesn't imply causation, but it is funny to observe.
Well, I mean, the impact of mecha in anime is pretty huge, especially depending on the size of the mecha. I mean, the punch force behind a single one of those things.
Yeah.
and sometimes, remember, size may not matter. The lambda driver converts emotion into force.
Mhm.
And causes a mecha that's only 8 meters to 10 meters tall, so only a single story mecha, to be able to wipe out cities.
Mhm.
Or at the very least, give them a nasty char.
Yeah, but this isn't going to drop very well.
We're not British enough for that.
Or you can have a single tiny mecha that pilots multiple mecha and is as large as a galaxy.
You know, this is spiraling out of control, Neff. You really need to stop.
But getting back on the rails, as I mentioned, we have 45 different games we're going to be looking at. Some of them good, some of them less so. I just grabbed everything that I could, and then was a little more selective towards the end. I did have one last minute addition that I'll get to when we get to it. Some of these, if you're in the server, I had already brought up, but others are going to be ones I haven't talked about up until this point. Now, the first one, Dispatch. What we're looking at isn't. This was shown around the same time as the Game Awards, but we are looking at the extended cut. This is meant to be a superhero parody work, but it seems to parody more the dispatchers for heroes. In a way that kind of reminds me of that 911 game that came out a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Mario, the show has rails. That's why we go off them so often.
Mm-hmm. A bit more so whenever Doku shows up. Last I heard, he's still trying to sell slightly used Bejeweled cod pieces
that double as violin strings.
Mm-hmm. But Dispatch is coming to us from Ad Hoc Studio. I'm not familiar with the name, but I can't say no to cell shading when it comes to animation. So I will get started with that, and you guys can let me know if there's any audio issues. And hang on. Is the audio picking up on the stream end?
Yep.
I haven't.
Never mind.
I haven't caught up yet. Yes, it is.
Okay.
I think. Wait, hold on. It was picking up through someone else's microphone, I think.
I think it's that may have been on my end. It may have been because of the way I have my audio set up crosswired. But
okay, well,
let's
never without a botch.
Yeah. I know some will say, does that mean you're as bad as the Scuff Queen? No.
Which Scuff Queen?
Monarch. I am
She's
nowhere near
the only
that.
one that exists.
Yeah, I am nowhere near that bad.
Well, that's also because she's kind of she ignores how tech is supposed to work sometimes. I think this has been a case for her even before she went VTuber.
And as I keep saying, you don't have to have blonde hair to have a blonde moment. But
You're right, she has white hair.
Let me play it again.
so I'm gonna have to wait for the stream to catch up, but then I'll let you know.
From some of the people that brought you The Walking Dead, The Wolf. Oh, this is essentially Telltale in all but name. I remember that now.
Yes, it is playing on the stream now.
Yep. So again, looking at the thing, and I don't know if you can see it on screen, but it's from The Walking Dead. We've got a bit of zombies and a flaming skull. The Wolf Among Us with a wolf smoking, and it's still fuckable. And then Tales from the Borderlands, the first one. I didn't know we were doing next this early.
I like giant robots.
Just on the inside.
Just dead
destroyed.
on the inside.
You have a lot left to give. I would like to make you an offer.
This is SDN. How can we help you?
You want me to sit in an office and dispatch heroes?
In exchange, we can make you Mecha Man again. Washed up dad bod superhero with no superpowers. Can't wait.
Whenever there's a crisis in the area, we get a call, and guess who answers?
Me.
Too easy.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
What are you doing in Visigal? Is that your car?
I don't have a car.
That's gonna be a weird insurance claim.
The way things are going, I cut the whole damn team.
All of you in this room have set this program ablaze with your bullshit.
You're right at home behind that desk because you're no hero. You're a nerd playing a video game in a suit your daddy built.
You gonna eat those Twinks?
That's not what they're... You know what? Help yourself.
Oh wow. Okay, we've got some names here.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some there's some names that people are gonna know from other things, and there's some names. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a fucking all-star cast.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, no kidding.
Wait, Joel Haver? Really? No, okay, no. I've been watching Joel for years. He's been doing like shorts and he does a lot of video stuff. He's a very cinematic guy. This year he's been doing attempting to do one feature-length film a month based on certain themes, and they've been really good. Really, he like most people probably discovered him when he did the semi-AI rotoscoping type stuff that he was doing for like ads for Elden Ring and such.
Mm-hmm.
But I found him before that. He's a really fun guy. Then they have him in this. That's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, nice.
What's your name, little guy?
My name's Pete, and I'm naked.
Oh. No, I refuse to believe that's what he sounds like.
I might have to try that out.
So, next, and I apologize for showing Jeff Keighley's face.
No, we must pay homage to the Dorito Pope.
The Dorito Pope who tried to get the real Game Awards shut down and failed. So this is Project Century. This is a future project that's going to be developed by the Ryoga Gotoku studio. Shot in the
Nice
dark.
aesthetics.
What era of what area of Japan do you think we're dealing with? Taisho era?
Might be Taisho, especially those old style utility poles.
Oh yeah, this is definitely giving me vibes of Taisho era.
No, it is absolutely Taisho era.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I've got a little something special for you. We're gonna try out the brand new tune. Oh my, your music, your 7th grade. Let's sing together.
Another day in Tokyo.
Singing another day.
Crowbars? That's baller. Ooh, we're definitely not healing the Kiryu.
Let's keep on singing night and day with a music harmony.
We're definitely not dealing with Kiryu here. First of all, just because of the fact that this guy openly fucking kills, whereas Kiryu claims he's never killed a single person, but some of those heat attacks would beg otherwise.
And I see Aaron in the chat. This isn't late Meiji, Aaron. This is Taisho era.
Yeah, this is after the influence of the West has really scooped up. You saw a lot of Western clothes in there, along with a lot of traditional clothes, and they have electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the Taisho era at that point.
But
Yeah,
The
1915
West
is
was
firmly
influencing
in it.
Japan for good.
But I'd say if there's any parallel, and this may be a stretch, we may be dealing with a whole new setup, but I don't know, maybe the ancestor of the protagonist you had in Judgment.
Let me go look at Judge Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, that's the actual name of Judgment in Japan. Judge Eyes.
I can see why they changed it for the U.S. market, because Judge Eyes, it probably makes perfect sense over there due to the English, but
It makes sense
here it
in
sounds
universe.
really weird.
It makes sense in universe given the theme of a detective. But beyond that, no.
I don't know if this guy is going to be... I think this is going to be a brand new character and brand new lineage. I don't think this is going to be anyone from Yakuza or Judgment. Because, let's be honest here, Judgment takes place alongside in the same area and era as Yakuza. And we even see crossovers from certain characters at times. But this... Like, the closest thing we would have to this would be Like a Dragon Ishin, which was during the actual Bakumatsu and even has the Ikidaya incident in it.
Mm-hmm.
I want it. People die a lot. I want it.
So
I want to be able to hit people.
Next is Crimson Desert. Now, this is something that we have talked about in the past. In fact, during the last shit show, we showed a whole combat showcase of it. There were, and I mentioned there were 3 combat showcases I could have shown of 3 different boss instances, but I had to pick one, so I picked the snowy one.
The rifts they have created will return everything to nothingness.
This looks really good.
We seek to correct.
I really want it.
Had my own mission. Seeking out my dreaming comrades.
Well, we've seen when we did it this last time. We saw the gameplay
is that this mission will restore the disruptive providence.
What the actual fuck? This gameplay is forward. Oh. This is supposed to be a single player game, right?
Yes.
for those
So
who
then why
have
did it look like we were
survived.
doing an MMO radio before?
And for those who will live
The best,
on.
that's why.
Oh,
This
okay.
is
That makes
our
I mean,
sense.
after all, they did BDO. That was fucking amazing.
Hmm.
Late 2025. I want, and it's on Steam.
Yep.
We will always point out when things are available on PC because god damn it, it needs to be on PC. Also, we will definitely point out when it's not on the world's shittiest launchers, such as the Epic Game Launcher or any of the proprietary launchers through Bethesda or any of those others. Steam or GOG. That is always what I will recommend. Steam or GOG, never anything else.
Especially given the ballsy move that GOG recently did, they deserve all the support.
Yes. I have Warcraft 1 and 2 through them, so
Which for those who don't know, and I'll go on a brief tangent on this since for some people this did go under the radar. GOG had set up a preservation program, their own preservation program, not too long ago, and one of the flagships of it was the original 2 Warcraft games, Orcs and Humans and Warcraft 2. Then, because Blizzard wants to do a remaster, they had those taken off the store, and GOG's response was, "We don't like the outright saying we do not like this happening, but even if it's taken off our store, we are still going to support it in case of future Windows updates that may cause issues or stuff like that." And then while they still have it, putting a massive discount on Warcraft 1 and 2.
yeah, it was like 90% or something.
Mm-hmm. But next we have Sonic Racing Crosswords. It's just a teaser. It is on Steam. And Epic is there too. But from what I've seen of Crossworlds, from what has been talked about, it seems that what it's going to be is a successor to All Stars Racing, which that and Transformed were actually a lot better than people gave it credit for. I've seen some. I remember some being like, it's ridiculous that it's just trying to be a Mario Kart wannabe. It's like, what? We can't have other people make kart racers? Is that where we're at these days?
Seriously, like Mario Kart is, like, don't get me wrong, Mario Kart is great, but there needs to be more kart style racers. Like, I miss the days of Lego racers.
Oh, and that's what I'd personally like to see, even though it would be a complete shit show, is a kart racer that has workshop support.
I think there might be a few indies of those actually.
There probably is. I
But,
just haven't dug it up yet.
But
Especially there was an update with Mario Kart 8 about a year ago that allowed for control over what drops in the power-up boxes, which resulted in Smitty doing a video of, imagine Rainbow Road, but it's all bolts and super horns.
lightning bolts and super horns.
Yes.
Really? Do you know what I would have? Do you know what I would have done instead?
What?
Rainbow Road, all blue shells.
They did that, and it was the equivalent of carpet bombing.
Yep.
Where people would willingly let themselves get overtaken just so they could fire off like 2 or 3 blue shells. And because of how many blue shells were being fired, you actually had to be a bit careful because those are AoE attacks.
Yep. I think considering the kart racer thing, I think the reason so many people centralize around Mario Kart is because the last time Mario Kart or like the very first time Mario Kart had an actual competitor in the kart racing scene was on the 64 with Diddy Kong Racing, and
that's
Diddy Kong
technically
Racing.
Nintendo anyway.
Well, I think it was back before Rareware left, or Rareware was part of Nintendo. It was still its own thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
But that at that point, Diddy Kong Racing never got a sequel, and Diddy Kong Racing was really good, and it did things that other kart racers don't, like actually having airplane races and stuff like that. So, I think it's the formula has become so ingrained because the major competition didn't have the same staying power.
I also think it's something that I plan on doing a musing of next year of what I'm calling the myth of legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
But next up, now this is one that we talked about last time, but all we had was a teaser. Mafia: The Old Country. And yes, this is being done largely by the same team that did the old Mafia games. They have stated that they want to do it in the style of the first two.
Nice. So we aren't going to get something terrible.
Mm-hmm.
All of the men in this room are bound by blood. This is a family. And in this family, we follow a code of honor. It is not forgiving. To betray one is to betray all. Do you wish to commit yourself, your life, to this family? I do. To become a man of honor, repeat these words. I swear my loyalty to this family. My flesh must burn like this saint if I do not keep my oath. Welcome, Enzo.
I certainly like the setting.
Yep. It's that'd be what, 1930s Italy, maybe 1920s Italy.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a good family game.
It's a family game. It's not wrong.
So next is Covenant, and this is one I posted in the Discord a few days ago. This slipped under my radar. I only found out about this by complete fucking accident when it showed up in my feed. But sometimes those are the best ones.
Sometimes. Serendipity.
You'll see why in a moment, but this gives me a lot of Bulletstorm vibes. And given the directions that we've been seeing with shooters in the indie space, this seems to be a natural step.
Ah, you seek the old notes. What a fool you are.
Like fowl to feed. Your kind seeks death. Something is coming. Something greater. What have you done that hell yawns before you? I saw you fall like lightning from heaven.
The way forth is long and dark. You must be most brave.
Well, there was the Doom influence there. When he kicks the gun up into his hand.
Before you.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Oh,
Then
hey.
20,000 knees shall kneel. The time is nigh. What wilt thou do? The axe comes to fell the tree. Cut it all down. Adversity become your fetish. Hardship your home.
Oh, hey, someone took some inspiration from Ultra Kill there.
The hero of old. The man of renown. You to change it all.
Hey, Monk, this is just Hexen with extra steps.
Yeah. Although hopefully not
Remember
with
me
many
with favor
fucking
for
switches.
all I have done.
So Hexen 2 then.
Tell the old man to send another flock.
I'm totally down for a Hexen 2. That was a fun game.
There is a Hexen 2.
Well,
Yeah, but this is a better version.
It's on PC.
Yep.
It's on Steam.
and look, I liked Hexen except for the switch hunt, except for all the switch hunting and the cryptic ass puzzles. And Hexen 2 I like most of except for one part. The Egypt section. And in particular, one puzzle that keeps fucking randomizing.
Looking at the Steam page, it's being described as an FPS Souls-like.
Yeah.
And a first-person dark fantasy action-adventure game. That already makes me a little bit more interested than just a Doom clone, which, don't get me wrong, I do like Doom, but yeah, Metroid was always, or Metroid Prime specifically, was always my preferred genre of FPS.
Which is funny because Retro Studios never called it an FPS.
I know, but I'm just saying first person where there is shooting involved.
Mm-hmm. But I know that they talked about developers behind these different games. I'd be curious which developers, because it's very easy to say that, but what I see out of this is them taking a lot of the people who jumped ship from these other properties for various reasons. The big reason probably being that they were too talented. But
so it says it's a team of 12 developers total on their website.
They had a missed opportunity to call themselves the Dirty Dozen.
Well, they probably wanted to expand later.
The Dirty Baker's Dozen.
According to the Legion Studios page, we are a small team of 12 developers who chase perfection. Covenant is a prequel to our major trilogy and our first step into the industry. We hope you will accompany us on our journey to something greater. So, this isn't even a main game!
That's ambitious. So
This is a game that is meant to set up another set of games.
Well, I certainly hope that they treat it as if it was a main game, just because, I don't want something that's Miles Morales in length.
I understand. I'm thinking that from what they said, chasing perfection, they're not going to treat this game with any less respect than they would treat the main trilogy.
Mm-hmm. So next is something we talked about last time, but since some more footage has come about, including a recut during the Game Awards, I wanted an excuse to show this again, and this is Tears of Metal.
And then fell the mournful Mother Stone, and then came the Invader, bewitched by the Mother's song. The Scots, the
defiant, proud and braver, gather to reclaim their land's favour. Under thundering thrums the highlands quailed, under siege the mother's lament wailed. And when at last the chaos of battle did ring, when at last their freedom they would bring, through blood, fury and bone, their legends would sing, and they would fight the sorrow while fell the tears of metal.
Roll credits.
I just love the fact that this is a roguelike about Scots people doing Scots people things.
Yes.
I cannot recommend it enough.
That's not how you say that thing. Come on now.
A roguelike Musou with co-op.
Monk, it's just Castle Crashers, except Scottish in 3D.
And with better
I do
combat.
love the art style, too. It's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the art style has a lot of character to it.
It's
very clear that they wanted the visual identity to be strong as well.
Mm-hmm. So next, this is going to be the only stinker in this thing, given the reception it's got, and this is Naughty Dog's next project. So I haven't done this joke in years, but me and the boys are doing a little cutting, and this one's got a bit more meat on it.
Well, my question here is
so many ways.
Yeah, my real question here is this going to be like Naughty Dog's stuff has been, or maybe they've learned something and this is going to be better than it seems?
Yeah.
Because really, this is just a teaser. This is another teaser.
A 4-minute announcement.
Yeah.
That's already 50 seconds too long.
Does that say Porsche?
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Oh my god. They've got some good anime. And yeah, I've been seeing people say, "Oh, look, it's another shaved head, ugly person from Naughty Dog." It's like, okay, that doesn't tell us anything.
She looks familiar. I can't quite place her. Hold on, someone's at the door. Hello? Ow!
What?
I think he forgot to mute his mic.
I'm pretty sure he forgot to mute his mic.
Gosh dang it!
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
There it goes.
Oh, there we go. I was trying to get a sound
I'm
back.
trying to set that thing up, and it's just... That's where I'd seen her before. Okay.
Well played, sir. Well played. If lacking.
Good effort. Have some steak.
Screw me over.
It's all good.
Doc, would you say that you phoned it in?
You can say that, yes.
The 5 Aces.
After the 5 Aces, they were in Balatro.
Jordan, tell me something good. Well, you're right, it checks out. He's hiding out around the Superior Moon. Excellent. How is that excellent? He's next to fucking Superior. No one has left that planet in over 600 years. Anyone who even flies close to it is never heard from again. Superstitions? No. Superstitions are the crazy rumors about what happened on that planet. These are facts. You worry too much. You know what I worry just right about? I say we wait for him to leave, or how about we find a new lead? He's not worth it. I'm wasting my time, aren't I?
Can you please blame him? I don't need another hunter swooping in.
Who is swooping? No one is crazy enough to go there.
He clearly is.
He is clearly desperate.
And so am I, so claim him, or I will find another agent.
You know, that's what your fucking shit. Okay, alright, you know what? There, you're the boss.
Thank you.
Listen, kid. I'll see you on the other side.
Like, sure, the dialogue's stilted. That's kind of typical, but we don't know anything about the gameplay at all from this so far. Oh, hey, product placement.
The thing is, though, is that there is sort of the gameplay can be the most amazing game in the world. The question is how much insufferable of a story are we going to put up against that game?
I'm going to pause for a second here. You know what, Doc? I have a thing. We did a monastic therapy episode about Forspoken, which I played all the way through. I have played that entire game. Good gameplay. World's a little underutilized, but it is supposed to be a world on the brink of apocalypse, so that kind of matters.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing is that the main character is an insufferable character to the point that I nearly dropped the game. And I absolutely had to change it over to Japanese voices because the English voices were no. I feel really bad for the actress who played Frey in that game because I feel she got stooped real bad because she's British and they tried to make her do a New York accent.
Just because Hugh Laurie can do that doesn't mean everyone can. Even Hugh Laurie admitted
And I
that
will say, they did choose a very good soundtrack for the beginning of this.
Yes. So this all here, this is a movie trailer. And so this is essentially a movie trailer. We're getting a movie trailer level of cringe. I think people poo-pooing on this because it's Naughty Dog and because, only 2 games, The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 for forever, it's brain rot. We can't know more about this game until it comes out. Now, I'm fully willing to play the game and be like, oh yeah, this game's shit, fuck. Then again, I'm also fully willing to go, this game's better than I thought it would be. I want the game to be good because that means Naughty Dog is learning.
And we always want people to improve. Plus, how many times, Zan, you and I have seen plenty of cases of devs who had a rough start and then got better. If I wanted to use a really good example, consider the devs of that god-awful Rambo game and what they've done since. And what's probably one of the biggest glow-ups of a studio since Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Well, and the big thing is, like, Naughty Dog, when they were young, had a slow start, got big, had some really good games, had some lulls. I think Naughty Dog is just going through a roller coaster, essentially, and they have been.
Game fans saying we're never getting Jak and Daxter again. Stop chasing what you're not going to get.
Also, stop nostalgia glasses, Monk. It's the sweet poison.
I personally don't care about getting another Jak and Daxter. I just want a game from them that is A, good, and B, it doesn't make me want to leave the game in frustration, not because the game isn't good, but because everything else connected to the game is bad.
Yeah, and that's perfectly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing is the constant maxim here, games not names. We understand, it's Naughty Dog. They have a reputation now, but there's always a chance that they learn from their mistakes and improve. We have to.
One of the best glow up stories that always comes to mind for me is the story of Zatrix Entertainment. Their early entry was Redneck Rampage, one of the worst shooters I've ever played from that era. and one of the worst on the build engine, and that was one of, well, let me rephrase that. One of the worst on the build engine that wasn't haunting Civi because of the name Capstone. But it was still a bad game. Then they did a couple missions for Quake, and then rebranded to Grey Matter Interactive and did Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which is probably the best Wolfenstein game. Yes, I'm even putting it over the stuff that Machine Games has done, which is good.
I would also like to point out to everybody that if you do want to try out Redneck Rampage for whatever reason, it is on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the big point I'm trying to get at here is, yes, we've been disappointed by games coming from Naughty Dog and other developer names, and we will poo-poo on them when they need to be poo-pooed on about it, and we will make fun and have our jokes. But every time a new game comes out, it's a chance for a new page, a new chapter, and for them to go, I hate sucking. Let's not suck anymore. And so every time I see a game like this, sure, there's some of the annoyances we've seen from Naughty Dog already. The stilted dialogue especially. But visually it has its own identity. And I want to see what the gameplay is, just to see whether that'd be enjoyable as well.
And
I believe in second chances.
If we just dismissed it because of the outside factors, then as far as I'm concerned, that would be no different than the people that we mock so relentlessly.
Like Razor Fist.
Yeah. Or the numerous. I've had to go through this shit. In fact, since Neff, you're here, I'll bring this up. I had to go through this kind of shit where some people did not care for the fact that I was willing to quote unquote platform McKinnon because of some of the shit that happened in the latter days of Guardians of Order. Still holding those old grudges. And I had told them it's a fresh slate, and every time that I approach him, he has the opportunity to say no. But when 4th edition became a thing, I gave it its assessment like I do everything else. But those who want to cling to what happened before, they're no different than the people who are trying to chase the past. And when you try and do that, it ends up destroying you. But let's finish off the rest.
I want to see the gameplay before I make any judgment.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with this. I see Barba saying, forget the past and move forward. Don't forget the past, just don't let it rule you. But next is Double Dragon Revive, which I can best describe as, what happens when you give Double Dragon to Arxis?
PlayStation.
It begins. Another battle.
I mean, we can already hear Arxis' musical stylings.
It is time we settle this. Shadows surround you. go. No time to waste.
It's Jimmy and Bimmy. I will never not reference that.
Oh,
Dragon's wrath.
yeah, Pirate, haven't seen you in a while.
Let's end this.
October 2025.
October 23rd, 2025. They already have a day.
Yeah.
Shit.
So
Okay, so before we start this,
mhm.
there is something I need to point out about this. This is not just Capcom. This is a studio called Clover's, with an S, Studio, headed by none other than Hideki Kamiya.
I knew
I don't know if that means
retired
he's
long.
Yeah. Hideki Kamiya has essentially recreated the old Clover, and this is being created in conjunction with Capcom. And you know I'm here for this shit because Okami and Okami Den are beautiful games that I love to death.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yep, Nammy's back.
This makes me want to replay the game already. I'm gonna have to go replay Okami again. That right there, that's a thing of beauty. I'm sorry. telling everybody, oh yeah, the guy that made the first Okami that you loved so much, yeah, he's back directing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people assumed that this meant he went back to Capcom. But when you dig into it, you see that he's created yet another studio that's his own. I think Kamiya just has an obsession with creating new game studios at this point.
Yeah, though when it comes to those big name those big name studios, there is one person who I feel like his rivalry with Kamiya now feels quaint. In the years since, to the point where we may have to dedicate an episode of Geek Watch to him.
Well, and like you said that you didn't think Kamiya would stay.
I didn't think he'd. Whenever somebody in a creative position talks about retirement, my mind always goes back to wrestler retirements, especially Terry Funk's retirements.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
The big thing is he left Platinum Games last year.
Mm-hmm.
And like I would like to point out that Platinum Games is where he spent the longest time in his career. He spent 12 years at Capcom, and then Clover Studio was created as a subsidiary of Capcom, and he was there for 2 years. For the last 2 years he was in Capcom. And then after leaving Capcom, he spent 17 years at Platinum Games.
Mm-hmm.
And after I think he basically left because Bayonetta and everything wrapped up. He was done with what he had wanted to do with Platinum, and now he wanted to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now he's in Clover's studio.
So next, and this is another thing that we did talk about last time. In fact, we had a whole showcasing of it, and that being the first Berserker, Kazan, which is essentially a Souls-like in the universe of Dungeon and Fighter. But the main thing that we get out of this is the release date.
This is a Christmas game.
Yes.
Just because it's snowing doesn't mean it's a Christmas game. Just go to Australia.
I thought I saw Krampus.
So a fight amidst a burning temple.
Well,
and that's why you check the body.
But are you saying that this isn't a Christmas game? He was clearly fighting Satan at the end there.
Satan Claus, yes.
There were 12 wings on that motherfucker. It's clearly the clearly somebody from SMT came over and put in their version of Lucifer.
But next is a little teaser trailer for a project called Screamer, which all I know is that the dev is clearly channeling Toge racing.
Longing, ambition, vengeance, powerful emotions that fuel our lives.
You like the Neon City?
But are they enough when death lurks around every turn? When fear and destruction consume us again and again and again. Join my tournament. Find out once and for all what it takes to defy death. Show me the strength of your will, Screamers!
And it is going to be on Steam.
Yep.
So is Calypso sponsoring this tournament? So this was another teaser. Apparently the Ryoga Gotoku studio is also working on a new Virtua Fighter project, and around the same time, Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown got a PC port called Revo, which is currently out. I'm seeing some people play and learning the hard way that you cannot apply your Tekken brain rot to Virtua Fighter and expect to last.
That was weird. You know the reason they're making this, though, right? It's so that way once we get to, like, Yakuza 14 or something, they can have this as the Sega arcade game.
Hey, we all know that move.
Tune in
Smashing buttons counts, because that's kind of how you end up doing in Yakuza.
That shoulder charge from Bajikwan, that's always that is iconic of anything in Virtua Fighter.
I see.
Especially its frontman Akira.
Akira does that as like one of his main moves.
But next, speaking of the Dungeon and Fighter universe, we have Dungeon and Fighter A-Rod. Which, this was on the list the last time I did the shit show, but I didn't have a whole lot to show at the time.
I don't wanna give up. Everybody wants love. Tell me how you got here. Oh no, girl, you know I need this.
You'll probably never hear me complain about this kind of aesthetic.
Well, this is pretty typical of DNF, to be honest.
Yeah, there's quite a few familiar faces on scene.
I can't say I've actually heard this series before today.
It's so Dungeon and Fighter is actually a pretty old series at this point.
Yeah.
Probably the most familiar for people in the US that would be DNF Online.
Yeah, that's where it started. And obviously, we have DNF.
Yeah. DFO is essentially an action MMO. And this aesthetic has been, well, not quite as refined as this since the beginning. The same kind of aesthetic.
Yeah.
I was commenting on the fact that I like the aesthetic in general, being unfamiliar with the universe.
Yeah. You know, give a look into it at some point. Next on games as expected.
Crap. So for the next one, I have to do it on. I have to open up a YouTube tab. But the next on the list is Turok Origins. This is being handled by Saber Interactive, so I'm gonna open that up on YouTube.
Yep.
And move that to... Wait, not the mini player. What the hell? There. I just won't be able to screen share it, unfortunately for you guys.
I'm just kind of wondering how they're going to revitalize Turok.
I don't know, maybe you can ask him about it.
I think the here though is 15 third person. It's interesting. Turok was an FPS.
Yeah, though it looks like Saber Interactive is basically channeling what they were already doing with Space Marine.
Yeah.
It's same team.
Yep.
Which does give me a bit of optimism, especially given the comments that Saber Interactive had after the release of Space Marine that got so many journalists pissed off.
I didn't even pay attention to that kerfuffle. What did they say?
They weren't interested in preaching to people. They just wanted to make a quality game.
Yeah, okay.
And a bunch of journalists regarded that as reactionary speech.
How is that reactionary?
Because it isn't. They were just pissy that that he wasn't towing
Anything
the
they don't
line.
like is reactionary.
But next was something that I know Shiro was jumping up and down about, and I'm certainly going to be interested. Onimusha, Way of the Sword.
Yeah. One of my buddies was talking about stuff that appeared at the Game Awards, and when Onimusha come up, he's like, "Pack it in, we're done." I'm like,
There's a familiar red orb.
quite a few of them. Now, if only I could get my hand on one of those, man.
And this is the conflict. We still got a bit more.
Feels like I'm getting less human by the minute.
And it will be on Steam. So I feel like what Way of the Sword is going to be is them doing what they've been doing with the remakes of early Resident Evil and applying it to Warlords.
Could be.
Because that is definitely the same gauntlet Samanosuke had. And he was the only one who absorbed souls through a gauntlet. Now, Jubei had it through the mark on his hand, and I think we had the same thing with Soki as well.
Well, the gauntlet's just so iconic at this point as well.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a new character in a new setting.
Yeah, until I see otherwise, I'm assuming it's Samanosuke. But next is one of the weirder entries. This is technically a Pac-Man-like. It apparently has some association with that secret level project Amazon is doing, which I haven't seen yet. I'm told some of the episodes are pretty good.
The
secret level.
The Armored Core episode was really good. It had Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm. But I've heard the 40K episode was decent. I've heard mixed things about the Mega Man episode. I will eventually watch it. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But you'll see why I say this is strange.
Monk, this is not a Pac-Man light. This is a Metroidvania with Pac-Man leanings.
Yes.
This sound seems just crazy enough to potentially be good.
Nico, who did you let into the drugs?
You want to know what's funny about this? After Neff and I did the Valley list last night, we had a bit of a digression about weird-ass arcade games, and one of the ones I brought up was a project that people had been gaslighting me for years into thinking didn't exist, and that was Baby Pac-Man, which was weird. Like, they wanted to mix Pac-Man and a pinball machine in one machine. And I'm like, how many lines of coke were they doing it in the design room at that time?
I don't think this is coke this time, Monk. I'm pretty sure they were on acid.
Yeah.
I'd like to remind everyone, though, that when it comes to the comment that video games influence people's way of thinking and way of acting, if that was the case, then we'd all be standing around in dark rooms, popping pills, and listening to repetitive electronic music. Oh, wait, ravers.
I have never been to a rave in my life, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Mostly because of the constant... I've been around raves, and the constant thumbing actually gives me pain.
He was in here last night raving. Whoa, slow down, Maurice.
So...
Eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
Next is Split Fiction. Which... I know it's from EA, but remember, folks, games, not names. So I do not want to hear word one in the comments about people writing this off just because EA. Because I have not forgiven some of you fuckers for how that mode of thinking killed Wild Hearts.
What company did that?
Wild Hearts was done by Omega Force under EA, under a side label of EA.
Yeah, EA Originals, which was not the main EA crew, and it was mostly publishing. It was a hunting genre, like Monster Hunter, but different and really good. And then it was killed after about 8 months because everybody's like, "Oh, it's got EA on it, bad game."
And
I'd chalk EA as a possibility. I wouldn't say that it's going to be bad because of EA, but I'm not going to discount it either.
Well, EA Originals is a different thing. EA, the publisher, and EA Originals, they're both, the only thing they really have in common is that they're both under the EA umbrella. EA Originals, if you looked at their page and what they'd published, the thing they did is they helped publish other studios' works with minimal, like almost no interference at all. Like, everybody expected Wild Hearts when they first heard about it to have like microtransactions and stuff because of EA. And it didn't. It had none of that because EA Originals doesn't interfere.
In the same vein of that, as much as I clown on Ubisoft, I'm not going to use that as an excuse to dismiss, say, Child of Light, which was really, really good. Or Rayman Legends.
Yep.
Which is also
or even
really
the Rabid partnership games with Nintendo.
The Rabid games are always fun.
Yeah.
Those are just so goofy.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the was it Raving Rabbids?
Yeah, those ones were fun as hell.
Yeah, and the Kingdom Battle thing, which was basically a Nintendo version of XCOM, just with slightly less bullshit. But point still stands. The reason for the games not names is to give any game that comes out as even of a slate as possible. Because how many projects could end up getting killed off just because of people wanting to indulge in that addiction?
Anyway, when it comes to Ubi, it's not the little games like those that are the problem. It's the big ones and the big franchises that they seem to fuck up.
Yeah, which has been talked about, and that may end up resulting in them either getting bought out or going bankrupt at this rate.
They will.
Mm-hmm. I know some people are saying that Tencent's gonna buy them out, but there are various laws that might prevent that. But I do think that they're gonna be making a IPO in about a year.
side note regarding Tencent is going to buy X and make it suck. Yes, I dislike Tencent because it is very clear that Tencent is, much like many companies in China, at least partially controlled by the CCP. However, if we look at Tencent's actions in detail, in most cases, they do not enact censorship unless it's of China, such as Tiananmen Square, etc., etc. They barely interfere because what Tencent is doing as an arm of the CCP is not going out and subverting people; it's making money.
Not just that; they're also doing talent acquisition, finding good programmers.
Mm-hmm. And the Tencent's whole thing is we're going to invest in this company, give them some capital, and then they will print money for us.
And
so
I think
hate Tencent for the right reasons, but don't hate the games that Tencent might sponsor.
There's a reason I like using the phrase about going out looking for witches. But
I'd like to point out that From Software, aka everybody's darling child who makes a bunch of very good games and doesn't ever really seem to have a bad one. There's an investment from Tencent in them. Tencent has money in From Software.
Mm-hmm.
Funcom, who does really good games, is wholly owned by Tencent.
Exactly. So,
Grinding Gears, wholly owned by Tencent.
Yes.
The point is that there comes a point where you're not looking at the facts of the matter. You're looking at a way to rationalize what you already think while claiming otherwise. Which, if you're gonna do that, just drop the bullshit. But anyway, Split Fiction. This is also under the EA Originals banner, so
we sure cause a lot of explosions.
Oh, it's for those.
Not played that
Maybe
one yet.
Okay, you better get ready, because I'm about to show you Hazelight's next co-op adventure called Split Fiction. Now, let me tell you this. Get ready?
It Takes Two isn't
right. You play as Mio and Zoe, two aspiring writers that hope to get published by a new tech company that can simulate their stories to life.
I can't do this.
Please calm down.
You can't. No!
Accidentally, they end up in the same simulation.
What are you doing in my story? Something bad is going on here.
And there, they find out that their stories are about to get stolen.
No one escapes my simulation.
And in order to save them, they have to escape back to reality through the very worlds that they created.
Hands above your heads.
But the thing is, they're strangers, and Miyu writes sci-fi, while Zoe writes fantasy. So you will, for every level in the game, jump between a sci-fi world and a fantasy world. We at Hazelight love variation, and you'll have a unique mechanic for every level. Let me give you some examples. In this level, you start out by finding dragon eggs that hatch.
Hey! Stop licking.
And then, they become a little bit bigger dragons with new abilities. But in the end, they grow up to be full-ass dragons. And now, you can fly around and kick ass. In another level, you play these ball droids that can magnetize and shift to different forms. And then, the droids become your exosuits. And you can now attack and hack different objects. Here's another one. You play as pigs, and they later become... Anyway, let's not talk about that level for now. And as always, with the Friends Pass, you only need to buy one copy of the game to play it with your friend online. That's what Hazelight is about. No loot boxes, no microtransactions, and no bullshit. You just get the game.
And this is why I said
Hey,
EA
parking
originals.
tickets. Time to die.
Excuse me?
Better off naming it something else that will like Disney's Touchstones label.
Maybe.
EA wants their mark on it no matter what, just because money.
Money, branding, yada 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 yada. But I can definitely see a few streamers that I know having plenty of arguments during plays of Split Fiction.
Yeah. Also, Doc, I was joking about It Takes Two not really being much of a platformer.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No,
yeah,
no.
I would say
You know what? You know what game? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I will say Split Fiction does look quite interesting. I will say the concept sounded a little bit better in my head the way I had thought of it. I thought it was like one person plays in the sci-fi world and one person plays in the fantasy world, and they have this way of affecting each other through the gameplay somehow. But I mean, what I'm seeing still looks good. I just was kind of hoping my concept was what it was.
I can see where you're going with that, but that'd be an absolute nightmare to program.
You know, a different two-person game that I might recommend you and your wife playing is A Way Out.
We played through Fogs. So there's that.
Zan, let me raise you one. Chained Together.
That's more than two people at times too, and that's the best way to.
That one didn't really have any appeal to me when I looked at what that one was about. Anyway.
Oh God, watching it is so much fun.
Yeah. But next is not a named project yet. It was just an announcement for some project by Gen Design. Gen Design is a studio run by the same guy who's responsible for works like Eco and a bunch of other work. So we're in that kind of area.
Yeah, I can hear it. It's definitely by that guy.
Seconds. 55 seconds. 50 seconds. 45 seconds. 30 seconds.
It's a countdown.
35 seconds.
See, it's in English. 35 seconds.
Shockwave 30 seconds.
Shockwave in so many seconds.
20 seconds.
This is the first time he's done science fiction.
I was gonna say, it looks like if the Colossi were mecha.
I'm here for playing Shadow of the Colossus from the Colossus sides for sure. Put me in a giant mecha. I'll tell Wander a new asshole.
Yep. So, you know, it's us, so I had to bring up that we had more footage of Mecha Break. Because we do have a release date proper. It's coming out this spring. And given some of the other modes that have been announced, this is going in my library no matter what, and I am dragging as many people as I can into it.
Hey, look, it's your favorite one, huh?
Fuck you. So, PvPvE mode. This was something that was hinted at after the alpha on their Twitter. it is basically them doing something akin to Extraction, but not exactly. It's more of two teams of players versus a given enemy. So this isn't, say, Tarkov. Thank God. We already have Mecha Tarkov. It's called Synduality. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'm sad that Synduality is not single player.
Yeah. But all I will say to this is I want it is there's a joke I could make about Mecha Overwatch, but I am not that pathetic.
Yeah, you're not going to be a bastard like that, are you?
No, I'm not some has-been speedrunner. Oh,
boss fights! Yes! Yes!
Okay, that wasn't in the alpha.
I think that was just an animation, because that's the heavy sniper's normal sniper rifle.
Yeah. Also, I wish all Panther mains a very happy go fuck yourself.
I just like to say that mecha fans are eating good lately.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to eat good when you actually have a balanced diet and are not consuming junk food.
Mm-hmm.
But so next is going to be the next expansion for Elden Ring, known as Night.
It's not an expansion.
Oh, this is a standalone?
Not an expansion.
All right.
This is an entirely different game style. Entirely different. This is the other thing that I heard about when the Game Awards came around. A bunch of my friends were like, From Software is cooked. We had a good run, guys. Oh no, this game is not FromSoft. I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid.
That is fucking.
But this is a completely different gameplay style that just takes place in Elden Ring universe.
Why were they saying?
A lot of people were saying it kind of reminds them of Monster Hunter, which is kind of cool, actually.
I think for a lot of, there's always been a adjacent multiplayer aspect with the Souls-like approach, but it's never been given a whole lot of focus, evidenced by how absolutely busted PvP can get. Even calling it busted is a bit quaint.
Mm-hmm.
Played Elden Ring is I can't remember if it was actually rain in that game.
Seekers of redemption, you were chosen, thrown together by forces beyond their control.
Hey, there's Caleb. Everybody hates Caleb. Do you see how I say this isn't like Elden Ring?
Yeah. Let me guess, a bunch of people were being hyperbolic and calling it Elden Ring.
Tragedy must be averted.
Well, it was more the fact that...
And for that, I need your help.
there's been a lot of things that have changed. Like that right there. That's not a thing. Oh yeah, wall running and clambering. Also,
Little
Painless King, is that you?
Venton stacking the lands of gold. I will swat away.
If somebody goes hyperbolic about the Nameless King showing up, I would simply say there's always been a implication of multiple worlds.
Well, earlier the woman who was talking to the Tarnished was the fucking Firekeeper from DS3, Monk.
Yeah. Like even in the first Dark Souls, there was this implication of the world you're in is just one of many, which was how you have an in-universe explanation for the multiplayer.
Yeah. If I remember correctly when I heard about this as well, each Tarnish is a kit rather than being a customizable Tarnish. So
any and all who dare approach.
Where have we seen this before?
Band together and prepare to claim. The life of the Night Lord.
Conrad Kurz?
Hold on. Wait, go back to that hold on, I need to go back to the door.
Night Lord.
To the three of them walking up to it.
Here?
I had it, Monk.
Sorry.
The light.
It's right about here. Why does that look like a tarnished a tarnished a hunter and a chosen undead?
Because that was
why does that look?
If there's anything that on one hand you have the people being hyperbolic on the matter, which we knew that was going to happen, and those people can go fuck themselves with a lead pipe. On the other hand, there have been some glorious memes of all of a sudden White Glint showing up.
Yes.
Which, if White Glint Regulation 1 shows up as a hidden boss, run the fuck away.
Yes.
The life of the Night Lord.
We've only seen a very small amount of gameplay here, but it's very clear that they're going for a much higher paced gameplay, and that's why I say this isn't really an expansion so much as it's its own thing.
I could see that. So next is Rematch. And yes, this is, as it states, this is from the studio behind Sifu. I guess they decided after doing 2 martial arts focused games, Sifu and Absolver, both really fucking good, they decided, let's do something else, and are doing football.
Go!
Okay, that's...
Okay.
So, I just finished doing a few runs with Sifu, which is really good and very challenging. I do see some of the DNA even in this, especially with some of the defensive moves, so timing is going to be key with this. I don't think you can jump. I get the feeling you can't jump into this after playing a few rounds of whatever annual FIFA is out this year, and get the same result. You know, when in Rome and all that. But
yep.
As a fan of these devs, I'm certainly not going to write this off, and it is on Steam. So next is Solasta 2. Solasta was a CRPG from a while back that was trying its best to emulate D&D 5e's rule set, to the point where it actually got a full setting book that was published by Modiphius. I haven't read that setting book, but it is out there. And now they're doing a sequel.
How dare you come alone, Shadwing? For many years you've sent waves of stone soldiers we've decimated. What can you achieve with your solitude that thousands couldn't?
Not thousands.
Millions!
That's a lot of gold. Looks like they're keeping the same location combat. Coming soon, early access 2025. So it's about what I expected from a Solasta sequel. We'll see if they add anything. But no matter what, it is unfortunately going to be compared to Baldur's Gate 3, since both are doing something similar. But Solasta was trying to be as close to 5e's rule set as possible, whereas Baldur's Gate 3 actually makes a lot of changes to the rule set that I think a lot of people overlook.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, somebody jumped. So next is Blade Chimera. So we've got a bit of Mania and a bit of Twin Stick. So you know I'm on board.
It's reminiscent of Mega Man Zero to me. Mostly in aesthetics, I think.
I would say more of ZX than Zero.
Yeah, but ZX and Zero have very similar DNA. ZX is more refined due to being on the DS.
ZX is also a Mania.
Yeah. I'm saying both aesthetically and gameplay-wise, not necessarily in terms of overall structure of the world.
So this is handled by Ladybug. Actually, I do realize what I was getting flashbacks of. Toho Luna Nights.
Yep.
Hopefully not nearly as projectile hell because it's not a Toho, but also to a certain extent, Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth.
I can see that one.
But next is the follow-up to Gal Guardians, this being Servants of the Dark. So this is
悪魔同士の争いが絶えないうち、魔界。魔王マクシムがある日、敵対する魔王ライゼノーブに居城を滅ぼされてしまう。
お姉ちゃん、煙だよ。お城から煙が。急ぎましょう、マーシャ。お姉ちゃん、任せなさい。狙い砕け散る。
Now we've got a
Kirika, 悪魔メイド。
Given the character switching, I see some Portrait of Ruin DNA.
Portrait of Ruin. Yep.
魔王マクシムに忠誠を誓うクールなメイドサーバント。魔力を込めた弾丸を打ち出す銃で遠距離戦を、サブウェポンで近接戦闘をこなす。マーシャ、悪魔メイドの魔物と心を通わせ、城内の皆から愛されるムードメーカー。無知とステップ移動で近中距離戦を得意とし、サブウェポンで探索をサポートする。アイテムを収集、合成、強化して魔界の覇権を取り戻せ。魂となって魔界に散らばった家臣たちを探し出し、魔王城を再建せよ。
Okay, that is cute. Actually holding out a map while you're looking at the mini map.
Probably prevents you from acting too.
裏切った？メイド長が？
家臣たちも皆殺しにされる中、生き残ったキリカとマーシャ。そしてカラクも生き残るも、その姿が大きく変わってしまった魔王マクシム。3人の復讐と復活をかけた物語が始まる。
やってやりましょう、マーシャ。我ら姉妹だ。
魔女アクション、ここに最短。グリムガーディアンズ、サーヴァント・オブ・ザ・ダーク。
And it is on Steam.
Well, I mean, the first one was too, so that's why.
魔王様、復讐の時間です。ダウンロード版は2025年3月27日発売予定。パッケージ版は2025年4月24日発売予定。設定資料集、サウンドトラック CD、アクリルキーホルダーを同梱したパッケージ限定版も同日に発売予定。パッケージ版の予約特典は A4 クリアファイル。各販売店の特典もチェック。インティクリエイツ。
Considering they don't have to lovingly sculpt every single background detail with 3D modeling and like at the minute detail that some of these AAA studios are having to do, they probably have that kind of time.
Well, they also just create really good games, and they're usually in conjunction with other people.
Mm-hmm. It's just Card and CL was only a month ago.
I unfortunately have to duck out at this point, so
and we got a bot.
Yep.
So
later, guys.
Peace out, Doc.
I had to put down malicious put down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing Will Smith came for revenge again.
Maybe. To it, if that was the case, all I'd have to say in retort is, you still made Gemini Man.
Ow.
Also, I can if Will Smith ever had a problem with me, I would just say, you thought Cypher Rage was a good name. But next on our list is Steampunk Shinobi. it is a generational roguelike. The whole generation thing reminds me of Rogue Legacy. It's a lot.
It really does.
So that's going to be an interesting beast. But next on the list, we have Robots at Midnight. I had this on the short list last time, but it got bumped off because I didn't have enough meat on the bones yet.
Mm-hmm.
The planet-wide blackout was evolutionary. The robots began the impossible. They changed. They grew. They began to feel.
Why? Why was I programmed to feel pain?
Life has come too quickly to the mechanical shell of human creation. Now, you must shut it down. Or set it free. Robots at Midnight. Wishlist now.
1/29/2025. Yeah,
next month.
Yep, I've seen hints here and there of this project, but it looks like it's getting close to, well, the finish line. Ha.
Mm.
And then we get to the one I'm sure there's already a lot of dumb arguments, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get even dumber in the coming days. That being The Witcher 4.
Dearest daughter, I've watched ye grow from a devilishly curious child into a remarkably young lass with much grace, wisdom, and kindness. Take the easy times what shape us, nay. 'Tis how we rise to face the hard times what does that for us. You've an heart of gold. You've the spirit to overcome adversities aplenty. Darling, sweeten. Today's the day ye fill out your destiny.
Oh, she's got two swords now. Remember, folks, both are from
Forgive me, daughter. 'Twere my only choice.
We shall be the bringer of salvation.
A witcher? Witcher! Whose kind did ye take? Nay, you can't. 'Tis tradition. Chosen she is, by the gods.
No!
You
chose her.
Back to the village. Go, now.
Nay! I must save them! Save the village!
Save yourself! Run! To shelter! To your father!
That's a cat medallion.
Run!
Don't tell me you're gonna do the same regurgitation that Razor does. I like Elric and Conan, but
the chosen one is
comparing the two is not fair at this point.
Oh no!
It's all we wanted. We're to go to the woods, to go to the gods.
Gods? There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
So, I'm aware that there's been some talk regarding Ciri's design here, and whether or not she could even be a Witcher. But, as I pointed out, the medallion that she had wasn't from the Wolf School, it was from the Cat School. And I believe that the Cat School did find a way to do it, but it's got a much higher failure rate. Zan?
Mm-hmm. I'm here.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure there weren't any technical difficulties, but I can see...
No, that medallion's from the Cat School because Ciri took it at Stiga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a while since The Witcher 3, so bear with me on that. But I've seen some people say that if it isn't Geralt, then it's not Witcher, and I'm like, as we talked about before we went live, there's nowhere else for Geralt's story to go. It would. I'm pretty sure some people would be like, they were able to bring back Kazuma for Ryoga Gotoku. I'm like, yeah, but with a lot of consequences. That's why that game was titled "The Man Who Erased His Name," because Kazuma has, by the end of six, had way too much baggage.
Mm. My issues with series design is if somehow she did become a Witcher, which, to those unaware, the Trial of the Grasses, which is one of the trials a Witcher must take to become a Witcher, where they're infused with a bunch of mutagens that cause the mutations amongst Witchers that make them so good at killing monsters. Completely 100% unsurvivable for women. Straight up. Women take them, women die. I haven't ever been able to find the information about the cat school possibly having a way for women, but I'd have to reread some stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, there was talk that they had found out a way, but the chances were so slim that it wasn't pursued.
Mm-hmm. Well, my big thing is that's for the mutagens that turn someone into a Witcher. Ciri's always had white hair. And because of that, and she's received a bunch of training,
Mm-hmm.
but there isn't. She didn't necessarily go through the trials. It could be that her powers, the magic that she is inherent to, because she's very powerful.
You're thinking that's the go around, that she had enough training as is to pass without actually going through the trial.
I don't think she went through the trial of grasses because her eyes haven't changed, which is an almost universal indicator of
her eyes only changed when she drank that concoction.
Yeah, whichever draft that is. It's probably one of the more common drafts. That's probably the night vision draft, actually. I forget what the actual name for that is.
I think it was Cat Eyes.
It might be Cat Eyes draft. You might be right there, and because they did look like cat eyes. But those drafts are technically the part of the reason a Witcher takes the trial of the grasses is to change their biology so the drafts actually work with them. But she's got that elder magic. She's got magic that's basically from the other side of the confluence of the worlds. And it could be that she can take the drafts without going through the trials because her magic facilitates it.
Yeah, that is certainly a way that can be done. Good.
Yeah. Keep going.
I think you had said that the only issue you had was that she looks too old.
Yeah. Ciri, even if she hasn't passed the trial of the grasses, Ciri has very strong magic in her. And we've seen what happens to strong sorceresses. Yennefer, Triss, they're way older than they look. Geralt is way older than he looks because of the mutagenic powers of being a Witcher. Ciri should not look so old. She should only look slightly older than she was in the Wild Hunt.
In the Wild Hunt, she looked like she was in her 20s, like early 20s.
Early adulthood, essentially. And unless this is a time so far past that Geralt and Yen are dead, which is a possibility. You don't know.
The other possibility is this is just the consequence of a graphical change.
Graphic change, or just someone making some interesting choices for concept art. It's my only nitpick.
Yeah.
I think this will probably be a good game. And yes, I know that there are going to be people out there that go, oh, but this means CD Projekt Red is wokeified or DEI or whatever. I'm going to be like,
If you're jumping to it that quickly, you already had that conclusion in your head before pen was put to paper. And I see what Matt had said in the chat, and I'm going to be blatantly honest, because I know a lot of people will bring up Elric or Conan in regard to The Witcher, and a lot of that is in part due to, much like how people regurgitated Spoonie regarding Final Fantasy VIII back in the day, this regurgitation of comparing Elric with The Witcher. Could that argument have been made early on when we just had the novels? Yes. That argument could be made. Now, with the directions that The Witcher has gone, and how it has very much doubled down on a lot of Polish mythologies, I don't think that argument can really be made anymore. I look at it like this. Early BattleTech was very much drawing notes from a bunch of different anime, because basically any design that they could get their hands on. But through the unseen and reseen drama and through art style changes, it has evolved into a more consistent design that is definitely its own.
If I had to, yeah, and honestly, if I had to make a guess as to why Ciri looks this way in this game, it's not even someone doing a change in concept art for the sake of changing concept art. I think what they're trying to do is to show Ciri has become Geralt. The torch has been passed. She's more rugged, much like Geralt was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's the intent behind the art change. And
besides, we already know sorceresses can change their appearance. I mean, Yennefer more or less did that.
Yeah. And of course, Ciri has, a different, much more powerful magic.
Mm-hmm. But next on the list is Neon Abyss 2. This is a reveal. I have played the original Neon Abyss, and it's actually pretty good, if a little bit crazy.
Oh no!
Well, then he says, I still say BattleTech is a love letter to 80s mecha anime, a la the various works of Rinosuke Takahashi, who was a more grounded approach to mecha, by the way. You can have your... I think you're somewhat reaching in regards to that, because they were grabbing a bunch of different anime. It's just as time has gone on, as there has been more refining of that style, in the same way that Warhammer 40K in its early days looks very distinct from the canonized look now.
Also, stating that there is such a thing as a grounded approach to mecha is missing the goddamn point. We watched Obsolete a while back on Parliament, and that could be considered, quote-unquote, a more grounded approach to mecha, because it explores the consequences in society and military and culture in if you just drop mecha into the world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still... The entire point of mecha is to be larger than life. In all the possible ways.
It would be like trying to make a grounded opera.
Yes.
Yes, me enjoying something like this is me indulging my love for swimstick shooting. How could you guess?
You know what? I approve of this game's depiction of gambling because it's a gambling that doesn't actually cost you anything.
Of course they're doing basketball. Why would they not? But next we have Prisma, and this is one that I grabbed while I was doing my digging about.
Yep. Dreams Uncorporated. Ooh, that's pretty.
I definitely love its aesthetic.
That's very pretty.
Oh,
it's from the Chris Tales devs.
Chris Tales was really fucking good.
Yes.
And I can definitely see the DNA here. Oh, that is nice.
What the fuck? What? What?
Yeah.
God damn it. God damn it.
So, next on the list is Kiora, and this was brought to my attention by Ein, though I'd seen it multiple times.
Oh, it's Chucklefish.
Yeah, and when he tried to pitch it to me, he brought up Terraria, which I can definitely see, and you'll see why I say that.
Well, I love Terraria, so like... I don't know why he brought up Terraria, though, because this is going to be more like Starbound.
Which I haven't played Starbound.
Which is a Chucklefish game.
I'll always appreciate good sprite work, and we definitely have that here.
Yeah. I remember when Terraria came out, Starbound was another one talked about in the same breath, because they're very similar ideas, though very different executions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is fun.
Well, that's fucking ominous.
Mm-hmm.
So, next is what happens when .emu gets a hold of Ninja Gaiden after cooking with fucking gas with Ninja Turtles and Metal Slug. We get Ninja Gaiden Rage Mount.
That is not what that means. That's not what that means either.
And the Game Kitchen.
Yep, the guys who make Blasphemous.
Oh, there's a reference. this Ninja Gaiden or Shinobi PS2?
Is this Ninja Gaiden or fucking Ninja Scroll? No, wait, hold on. Is this fucking Strider? I'm not wrong!
Oh, Double Helix Strider, I can see it. And the Game Kitchen is still doing their cooking with their prices.
I want this. Now the question is this a Metroidvania or is this a roguelike Metroidvania?
From what I've been hearing, it's the former.
Probably, but a roguelike Metroidvania with Ninja Gaiden characters would make me oh so happy.
But, let's see, summer 2025, it is going to be on Steam. I did have some talk with Alm about whether or not that was Ryu's kid or a new apprentice.
That guy looks like...
Good.
If I remember correctly, hold on. Let me check something here. I think that might be a reference to...
I mean, the outfit is obviously a reference to Ryu's appearance in the original.
Yeah. I don't know.
But next we have Tankhead, which I've been keeping an eye on, and we now have the proper gameplay demonstration of it. So, Tanks, you're welcome.
Hi, I'm Mike Brown, Design Director on Tankhead. Today, I'd like to introduce you to the basics of Tankhead, as well as a few tips to get you started.
And you are making your own tank.
In Tankhead, you play as a Needle, a specialized drone that can pilot a tank. The tank is your lifeline when out on a mission, so keeping it stocked up, equipped, and repaired is one of your primary concerns. At its core, Tankhead is a roguelike. Your goal is to try to defeat all 3 Tankheads in a single run in order to reach High Point. This means you'll need to manage your equipment and resources to get all the way through this challenge. One of those key resources is scrap. It can be earned by salvaging spare parts off of enemies or by picking up orange traces that drop off of enemies. Scrap can be used to repair individual parts on your tank or to restore its health. Use your scrap wisely.
So we're dealing with localized damage on the tank. Fair.
Element 115, or E115, is your other currency. It can be recovered by salvaging bottles of refined E115 or dropped from enemies. E115 is used to purchase items in the hub or in the secret shop present in every map.
I wouldn't be surprised, since this is a roguelike, I wouldn't be surprised if the secret shop has better stuff, but you're paying out the ass. Or it could be on the cheap, but you're not keeping it.
We'll have to see soon.
Your tank can be equipped with various weapons, armor, wheels, motors, and abilities. Make sure to loot defeated enemies, and keep an eye out for supply crates that can provide valuable equipment.
90mm.
Don't forget to salvage anything you don't need for scrap. XP is the core of progression and how you unlock new items in both the mods shop and parts shop. Completing missions will earn you XP, but one of the best sources of XP is completing the optional secondary objectives in a map. Keep an eye out for those on your compass.
Remember folks, PTFO.
Mods help you become more powerful in Tankhead and increase the chance of surviving and completing your mission. Inside the hub, you'll find a mod terminal, upstairs or in the garage, where you can spend chips to upgrade. There are 2 types of mods. Core mods give you a better starting chance in each run and improve things like more refits or starting E115, while adaptive mods are upgrades that improve various aspects of gameplay. An example is Tank Stand, that allows your tank to enter stand mode when stationary to peek above low cover. Chips can be found in old terminals or robots scattered around the ECA. You can use your ping ability, while in your tank or out of it, to find chips and other loot spread around the map. Whenever you refit in a run, you can return to where you died last and salvage your old needle. Salvaging your needle will give you an extra vehicle repair kit. This is especially
There's your touching the bloodstain moment.
handy when trying to defeat tank heads.
More like picking up.
Speaking of,
We have a tank under a building.
It's called the Diver.
when fighting a tank head, make sure to target and destroy weak points. Each weak point will drop precious traces that you can use to stay in the fight, like ammo, or even vehicle repair kits. Make sure to experiment with destroying parts and weak points on enemies too. These can have explosive benefits and help you keep fights short. Short fights help you keep your scrap and repair kit usage to a minimum. When you're fighting tanks, keep moving. It's hard for them to land consistent shots if you're moving. This is easier said than done, but it's a key skill that will help you beat tanking.
Anybody who's played any twin stick shooters or tank control games knows how to stay mobile in a tank.
Circle strafing will save your fucking life.
And it's very clear this game is using tank controls. Modern.
While
tank
your ping
controls.
ability can be used to find
Not
loot,
old life.
it can also be used to activate
yeah.
dormant lights in areas without power. If you're finding it hard to see, give it a try. Thanks for watching, and we hope you have a great time playing Tankhead.
Please be on Steam down the road.
It's available on Epic Store right now. Give me a second.
If it at least has a Steam page, that'll be a step up.
Well, that's funny. Tankhead, the very first thing that comes up is art by Emerson Tung.
Okay. Did anything else come up?
Nobody's mentioning anything else. I don't know.
I mean, if it's just on Epic Store, that's going to be a disappointment.
If it's just on Epic Store, that's a non-buy.
Yeah, which is a shame because maybe it's just me, but I feel like Tankhead on some level feels like what Synduality should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is doing the roguelike thing. And at the very least, this is a way for me to play a tank game that doesn't involve the bullshit of playing World of Tanks. Or War Thunder.
Yeah.
Just don't get me wrong, they're great games, they're just too sweaty for me. So, next is Hyperlight Breaker. And this is mainly just the release date reveal of it. This is a follow-up to Hyperlight Drifter, obviously, which has a TTRPG, which is a surprise. I have it. Morbid curiosity got the better of me because I was like, how do you make this into a TTRPG? But somebody found a way.
Hi everyone, Michael Clark, lead producer for Hyperlight Breaker here, and on behalf of all of us at Heart Machine, we're thrilled to officially announce Hyperlight Breaker is launching on Steam Early Access in January 2025.
Nice.
We've been hard at work on making Breaker the best it can be before it enters Early Access, and we want to thank all of you for your patience and support over the years that's helped us get to this point. Early Access will mark just the beginning for our players. Throughout Early Access, we'll be adding a ton of content and getting your feedback to help evolve Breaker across the board. Before Early Access begins, we'd like to share an overview of the game and what you need to know before you jump into the overgrowth with fellow Breakers for the first time. Hyperlight Breaker is a co-op, open-world roguelite set in a brand new realm in the world of Hyperlight, taking place decades before the events of Hyperlight Drifter. In the game, you take on the role of a breaker, a warrior, and explorer. The Breakers are an elite organization who have the daunting task of restoring civilization after a huge, world-destroying war. Your mission is to explore the Overgrowth, take down the Crowns, collect and assemble their scattered memories, building and establishing order as you set out to destroy the Crown's leader, the Abyss King, who rules the Overgrowth. The Crowns know the secret of the curse within the Overgrowth,
I do like
and it'll be
the
up to
way
you
combat
and the
is
rest
set
of the
up here.
Breakers to uncover the truth. Like with our previous games, Hyperlight Drifter and Solar Ash, exploration has been the heart and soul of our world design since the very beginning of Hyperlight Breaker's development. It's all about exploring the Overgrowth to the fullest, while collecting unique gear to create different builds and destroying hordes of enemies to get one step closer to uncovering secrets and overcoming the Crowns and the Abyss King. The Overgrowth is a vast, ever-changing world with large-scale open biomes and deep labyrinths, where you'll carry out your mission to defeat the Crowns. To do so, you'll need to take down elites to get the keys needed to open the gates for each crown. As you explore, you'll discover that the biomes within are procedurally generated with unique layouts, enemies, loot, and rewards, leading to multiple playthroughs, so you'll never see the same world twice. Explore the Overgrowth to the fullest and see what, or even who, you can find in each run. With the Abyss King's control of the Overgrowth, prepare to face hordes of deadly enemies and brutal, challenging bosses who won't go down without a fight. To survive in combat, you'll need strategy and reflexes to take down the enemies. Rushing in and button mashing will only get you so far. To make it out alive, you need to strategically use your arsenal to your advantage. Be on the defensive as you quickly dodge or parry attacks, while also being quick to attack when the time's right. When the going gets tough as you're clinging on to your last health kit, or if you're ready to head back to base to drop off gear you've picked up before taking on a crown fight, you can decide whether or not to go back to the cursed outpost. But be warned, once you start the process of teleporting back, you'll need to do whatever it takes to survive and make it back to base in one piece.
That's an interesting
Once
setup.
you're back at the base, you can prepare for your next run again, return to the Overgrowth to take on one of the Crowns.
No, this
Crown
is Sindu
fights are
Alley, huh?
challenging, yet fun.
So would you say
Because whenever
this is
whenever
what's-
you go out, you when you have to get back, you have to defend yourself at the elevator before it goes down.
And will put your combat skills to the ultimate test. Dro, the female Wolven warrior here, clearly doesn't give you much breathing room. To stand a chance against her, you'll need to be quick on your feet and find the right time to strike. For early access launch, there will be 2 powerful crowns to fight, including Dro, and more will be added throughout early access. Death doesn't mark the end of your adventure in Hyperlight Breaker. It's just the beginning, as you'll be able to make progress in multiple ways in between runs back at the Cursed Outpost. From improving your stats, to getting new abilities and gear, or decoding memories to piece together each crown's story. Dying and retrying will allow you to get stronger, help the Cursed Outpost flourish, and be one step closer to completing your mission of stopping the Abyss King. Along with this, the Overgrowth will completely reset, so you'll be able to explore a new version of it with biomes that have changed from the last cycle. Prepare to...
Why?
I don't know what just happened there. That was Sync 2 being weird. But Breaker certainly looks interesting.
Yep.
So unfortunately, I can't go back on the playlist. So next is the release date trailer for Star Overdrive. We did talk about Star Overdrive briefly, but we didn't have a whole lot to go on.
Yep. I'll be right back.
No worries.
It's going to be an incredible adventure. Just imagine an entire planet as a hoverboard park.
Oh.
And thanks to your Kita, you will master every challenge. You just need to trust your hoverboard and trust yourself.
question is, does this hoverboard work on water?
But it's going to be fun.
This looks even more awesome than the first time that we saw some of it, and it's coming out April 10th.
Yep. So, I think Star Overdrive, even though it didn't say so here, I do think Star Overdrive is on PC as well. I could have swore it was.
I can find out.
Yeah, it has a Steam page.
Yes, it does. Fun, fun, fun.
Now, it says coming soon over there, but it does have a Steam page. So next is a project that I did talk about last time. A mecha BR known as Steel Hunters, which I did play an early version of. I just can't talk about it.
Yeah. Closed beta, so.
This day, Hunter, we were built for victory. We are humanity's last chance.
Attention. Starfall site identified. Rival factions inbound.
Prepare to deploy.
We are eating good as mechs.
Entering the hunt. Let's get you home.
And apparently Zoids fans, given that there's quadruped mechs in this.
Yeah, I saw the Panther mech. Not to be confused with your favorite.
To do this. To hunt and fight for freedom.
You will suffer my strength before you even see me. I am the apocalypse!
Huh, calling aerial support.
They got me good. Hang on. I don't leave my partners behind. Provided now. Let me repay the favor.
Consider your death part of the plan.
You've got Zaga.
This isn't over.
Man,
You will face
they've got all these cool mechs. You told me it was a VR. It's ruined it for me.
Well, it was at the time. I'm not sure if it's still that.
For anyone who's asking, no, I don't like VRs. Not my style of game.
Unleash the hunter within.
No, man. According to their website, it's another PvPvE.
Oh, then it changed during development. Starting. But like I said, mech fans are eating good.
Yes.
But I'd say Steel Hunters is for those who want something a bit more slow-paced than Mecha Break. I find that there's room for both in my library.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just like that, much like with Mecha Break and how unique and how each robot definitely has its own characteristics and just aesthetic. It's clear Steel Hunters does as well.
Mm-hmm. But I know that one among us is probably going to veer towards whatever mech gives us the most DACA.
On the floor was a toe covered in blood.
Alright, next is Slay the Spire 2, and I just want to point out that this manual here is blatantly a For Dummies book.
Yes.
Titled Top Ways to Conquer the Spire. You find this manuscript highly suspicious because it's covered in blood. You read the book, covering your hands in blood.
Oh, give him a hand. With that fourth one, I want the name for it to stay question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I appreciate the gag. You know, trying to fake people out like it's coming to early access in 2026. But next, this is another case of me indulging in my love for twin stick shooting. Hover Grease is one that I talked about 3 years ago. At the time, it was trying to get funded on Kickstarter. Funding, I can't remember if it worked out or not. And I don't feel like going back to the old Kickstarter page to check. But they went dark for a little while and then reemerged when I got a email about this a few days ago.
I smelled blood. I crushed them. Ain't much more to it. They got in the ring with the bull, and the bull don't lose.
That was a perfect time for him to say, mess with the bull, get the horns, but, well, apparently he's not very smart.
Probably all the head trauma.
Wait a minute. When did this become Hotline Miami?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding!
Kept the shields up, kept the bullets flying.
Can you see why I had this on my list?
At this stage, know what I'm saying? Just not
Man, this guy sure seems cocky.
In it.
The cock of the walk, you might say.
I'm not chasing the spotlight, just making sure no one goes down. Shield up, heels out. I've got them covered.
It was fun. I got to toast a few of them with my fling thrower. I love watching them burn. It's like the flames are hugging them.
Oh, she's the pyro. That's the same amount of crazy as the pyro.
Yep.
There was a moment where you could feel the air shifting, the silence before each strike.
And if keeping the two cord, here's our sniper.
It's about being in harmony with the shot. Everything else just follows.
Story mode, single player, and 5v5 mode. Oh god, that's gonna be chaos.
I saw our Genji.
Yep.
It's a frog person.
Yep. So we have a twin stick hero-like.
Too bad Lady K isn't here, but I know why she isn't.
Mm-hmm.
She'd love this frog person.
Although, given the colors, what I know about frogs, I'm staying the fuck away from that.
Poison.
So, this next project did attempt a Kickstarter run. Didn't work out, but this is knockoff. A action figure fighter coming to us from some developers down in Brazil.
Named Mecha Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm.
Nostalgia reignites cherished memories from our childhood, such as reminiscing about our favorite toys. Among all the exciting playthroughs, one question perpetually lingers.
Who truly reigned as the strongest? Brace yourself, for the answer is
Ronan,
about to unfold.
they're really not holding back on what their inspirations are they?
Nope.
Hey Monk, you know what this reminds me of?
Killer Instinct?
Clay Fighters 63 and a half.
Yeah, just better, because it's made by better designers.
Razenger? Really?
Yep.
Really? Grimrot.
I'm surprised you haven't brought up Lockjaw.
I'm not gonna bring up Lockjaw, because I knew you would.
But yeah, combat-wise, I keep getting Killer Instinct vibes.
I really like that they went full in on the action figure aesthetic.
Yep. Including having the stages be, what would look like a kid's desk or room or what have you.
I just love the art. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I like the fact that when they get hit in certain ways, you see the joints. You see the joints get stretched.
Yeah.
Which is something that you would see if you tried to pose.
If I wanted to do a maximum irony, the final boss of Knockoff should be gold plastic. If you know, you know. Gold or clear plastic. But next is something, and I told you about this last night, Neff. Next is the first, I think this is the first actual video game in the RuneQuest universe.
Yes,
RuneQuest
you did mention this.
Warlords. It is on Steam. I will note this. It was showcased at Slytherin's Games' own show, because they're one of those companies that do that. The only other thing I know is that the studio behind this previously did Warhammer 40k Battle Sector, which was a very good attempt to try and emulate the war game in a video game sense.
Glorantha, the gods walk among mortals and legends shape the fate of entire lands. It is a realm where magic pulses like blood through the veins of the world, and where the skies crackle with divine power. From the craggy peaks to the shadowed plains, the stories of Glorantha are etched in
I wouldn't be
stone
surprised
and
if it
song,
was.
immortalized in the deeds of heroes and whispered as warnings in the dark. In the rugged expanse of Talistar, the Orlanthi stand proud and unyielding. These people bound by honor, kin, and...
I will say this. As far as fantasy settings go, Glorantha has always been one of the most fascinating. And one of the ones I will throw at people whenever they want to be smug at me regarding high fantasy, because Glorantha is not a Tolkien wannabe like a lot of people assume every high fantasy to be.
Their devotion to Orlanth, their storm god. They are a people as fierce as the tempests they worship, living lives inscribed with runes and heroic deeds.
Are you sure this isn't
For
an
them,
RTS?
battle is both survival and sacrament, and their halls ring with the epics about triumph and valor. They find their path, their calling amid the ringing of blades, the whistle of arrows, and the strikes of magical lightning. Among the chronicles of Glorantha's greatest warlords, few names stir the heart like those of Halgrim Ironsword, a warrior forged in defiance and tempered by...
Which is apropos, because I recall Bungie stating with the development of Myth that instead of making a standard RTS, they wanted to make a big war game kind of experience.
By the Orlanth's lightning, Halgrim's deeds sing with the clash of iron and the roar of storms. Yet he is not alone in the annals of our world. There are many whose names resound with power and resolve in the sagas that have been told in the RuneQuest Warlords.
And technically, Myth isn't a real-time strategy; it's a real-time tactics. So,
yeah. As far as RuneQuest goes, it is doing turn-based. It is using an action point system, basically the same turn-based approach that they use for Battle Sector, just with RuneQuest instead of Warhammer. So I would say it has more DNA with Might and Magic
Mm-hmm.
than anything else. That's somewhat of a stretch, but it's the best analogy I could make. But they're more concerned about the fighting part than the base building part, and you definitely see that here. Now, next is actually a game that I did an interview about years and years ago. Like, I've talked to these guys. This is 5 Force Fighters, which I have had an eye on for quite a while.
What's good? I'm Love, and this is my brother, Light.
What's up? We're co-founders of the small game studio Kaizen Creed, working on our first title, 5 Force Fighters. We spent years teaching ourselves the ins and outs of game development. Our journey has been challenging, but extremely fulfilling due to the support of our friends, family, and fans of our projects, and last but not least, the team at Black Voices in Gaming.
No, for sure. BVIG has amplified our reach to wider audiences by providing opportunities for us to showcase 5 Force Fighters.
Apparently, this is just talking, so I'm gonna skip this one. But 5 Force Fighters is actually really promising, and they were drawing more upon Smash than typical fighters. I have word of God on that.
Nice.
But next, are you guys sick of mechs? Because I'm not.
If I ever grow sick of mecha, you know that it's not me and somebody's replaced me.
Yeah, I'll start beating your ass if that happens. But next
Either that or it's time for you to put you out of your misery.
No, just a chicken wing. But next we have Mecha Blood Quarry Assault.
Oh hey! It's a mecha boomer shooter.
Yep.
We even have rear view mirrors. That's great.
January 2025, and it is on Steam. So I look at this as Descent with less flying and less hatred, because the original Descent hates you.
Yep.
But next is something that we did talk about last time, and I've talked about before. I know there was waffling about whether or not RuneQuest Warlords is an RTS. This one is an RTS, and is channeling Command & Conquer. And that is Tempest Rising.
Oh, yeah, we've looked at Tempest Rising a few times on here. I love RTS.
The Dynasty have blown the bridge to the temple site. Our drone reconnaissance shows heavy defenses in the area, so watch your step. Get some defenses up and give the archaeologists time to work.
Yeah, like I said, this is very much channeling Command & Conquer.
I'm seeing an enormous energy spike. What is that?
April 24th.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another one from Saber.
Yep.
I'll say
they've been busy.
Yeah.
Just to let you know how long ago we first talked about this, Monk. Because remember, I've written down games that I want to buy or eventually get at some point. My little list of games. It is of 246 games currently on the list, number 94. We talked about it at the same time that we talked about things like Sword of Convallaria before it came out, and Varvarian when it was first doing its little demonstration videos.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this thing probably for the first time like 2 years ago.
And it's now coming out. It's going to be coming out this spring.
Yep.
And this last one, this was a last-minute addition, and by that I mean I added this like 6 hours ago to the list. The only thing I know about this one is that it is being written by the Butcher.
being written by Urobuchi.
Yes. Admittedly, he's not as much of a butcher as he used to be. I think working on Kamen Rider... I think we talked about this when we did an episode dedicated to him. I think working on Kamen Rider Gaim took him off of his cocaine high.
Well, I mean, everybody changes. It's like Tomino isn't Kill 'Em All anymore.
Yeah. And a big reason why Tomino was Kill 'Em All was due to outside factors. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. It's just like Ano isn't Depresso mode anymore either as well.
No. It's kind of hard for him to be Depresso mode given what he's involved with next.
Well, I mean, like, Ano finally finished everything he had planned for Evangelion. Finally got that out of his system.
And now he's doing Yamato and submitting designs for GQX.
Yep.
Which
So,
I will state I've seen people have had mixed attitudes on the designs with GQX. I say if you're going to bring in Studio Kara, you let them do Studio Kara things. But there were some people who were saying that the design looked like it was made by AI, which is just wrong and stupid. But, like I said, with Rusty Rabbit, I'm going into this blind. I have seen some people draw parallels between this and Forged and Shadow Torch. And, Bunny.
Robit. I saw a Robit.
Yep.
The rabbit saw a Robit. It's a rabbit, Robit! It's more Robit!
Yeah,
it's Robit Metroidvania? Or is it Robit Roguelike? I want it. I want it! I already want it! Also, the fucking music in the background is Kino. I want this.
Leave it to me!
Hey, stop that, you idiot!
Madoka Magica Fate Zero is a psychopath.
Cute little bunny. Not a chance.
I want to check if this was actually done by the same team that did Fist.
I don't know.
Because I see some of their DNA, and that also had a mechanized bunny.
I will have to say this. This trailer is deceiving. You see PS5, people, but guess what? According to its own Wikipedia page, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Windows. So, and it's officially a Metroidvania, a 2.5D. Everybody is going to want to play this game in Japanese because Yongya is the English voice actor for the rabbit. I do have to read this, though. The game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where humans have long abandoned Earth, leaving it to rabbits, who have developed a civilization where the books of Peter Rabbit are seen as holy. The game stars Stamp the Rabbit as he pilots a mech through Mount Chimney in search of his daughter.
Yeah.
And this was developed by Urobuchi as a passion project during COVID-19 lockdowns. And the entire reason it was delayed to 2025 was to allow for a switch to port development.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love it.
Yep. And I think with all of those entries, there were a lot more. I think there were a lot more things in here that we found interesting or were throwing our wallet at the screen for than not.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I keep saying that a lot of people who are saying I can't get hyped for anything. I'm like, I can barely fucking keep up. Where the hell are you? We've long since been at a point where if you're being that level of cynical, you're doing so because you need to, not because that's the fact of the matter. As I frequently find myself saying, that does not match reality. The reality of the situation is there are so many prominent games being developed that at this point, if you can't see them, you are choosing not to.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And I say you're choosing not to because I have frequently used an analogy of the dog on a nail. There's an old story about a dog who's sitting on a nail howling about how much it hurts, but he won't move from the spot on the porch that he's on. He won't sit somewhere else.
He'd rather complain.
Yeah. And the story ends with the animals laughing at him, making fun of him, saying that he's howling because it doesn't hurt enough. With a tone of he's sitting there because he wants to constantly complain. And that's the vibe I get when I see people being that hyperbolic. Now, are there certain genres of games that are having a rougher time of it? Yeah, I mean, if you're a sports simulation fan, I do feel bad for you because you don't have a whole lot of options due to that exclusivity deal. If you're a fan of sim racing, well, the problems when it comes to sim racing are largely self-inflicted by that community, if I'm being honest. We talked about that. But in terms of arcade versions of both, there's plenty of options to go with. Now, if you want to insist, I want to actually play as NFL teams, well, you have to decide what's more important: playing a game that's fun, or playing a game just because it has a name. That is the other part of the games not names policy. So earlier there was talk of wanting like a Jak and Daxter successor, or wanting another Jak and Daxter, and I'm like, which is going to be more important? Having a game with the Jak and Daxter name, or having a game that has the same energy but doesn't have that name? And this is something I will get into when I do that mythology piece, which it is being worked on. But with that said, that's going to do it for this particular episode of the Hangover Shitshow. We'll probably end up doing this sometime early next year, depending on what shows come about, and some of the things will be covered. I will note one thing. So during the Game Awards, it was announced that FF7 Rebirth is getting its PC port, which we knew it was going to have. It was only a matter of time. We just had to be patient. And of course, then it happens, and we end up being proven right. Once again, not like that hasn't happened before or anything. But because of that, and because of the fact that I do have Remake and Integrate in my library, I decided to, you know what? maybe it's time I go back and revisit those. And starting Sunday night, that's what I'm going to be doing. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to go through Remake from the word go, and then keep going. I know some people are taking the approach of, well, I'm waiting for the whole trilogy to come out, and then I'll grab all three. I didn't do that with .hack. Why would I do that here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't wait for all 4 episodes of EMOC to come out. I grabbed them when I could. With GU, I didn't wait for all 3 parts. Mostly because when GU started, I didn't know how many parts there were going to even be. I didn't realize...
Yep.
I don't think we put 2 and 2 together that was going to be a 3-parter until maybe part 2. Just because of how the story was going.
I thought it was going to be a 4-parter from the beginning because of the quadrology.
Yeah, because of EMOC.
Yep.
I know that's not.
And then I will have to say this: it did become a 4-parter when Last Recode came out.
Yeah, but how the fuck were we supposed to know that after part 3?
I held the faith, god damn it!
Uh-huh.
No, I held the faith for Devil May Cry. I held the faith for Armored Core. I held the faith for .hack. Fuck y'all. I hold on to things.
Yeah, you and I are petty motherfuckers. But with that said, we will be back here tomorrow for Geek Watch. That, of course, will be tomorrow afternoon. And after that, tomorrow night, I will be doing the thing I have planned regarding Remake. Don't expect to see don't expect to see the full live 2D avatar for that. I'm not gonna run that risk again. At least not until I get a stronger graphics card, and knowing the price of graphics cards, don't expect that to happen for quite a while. And when it comes to the coming days, as far as when I'll do those streams for Remake, it's a case of whenever I have time, or I'm not doing something else. Obviously, it's going to be tricky because we're still in the month of Megaten, and actually, Coops is going to be in the temple for that twice next week. Mostly because of timing. But if everything goes as planned, we will have Session 0 for Wandering Heroes of Ogre Gate next Saturday on the 21st. That is the plan, and that's going to continue to be the plan unless something happens. And of course, for the Valley next week, when it comes to the month of Megaten, I'm gonna have to talk about Demon Fusion, which that's gonna be interesting, since that's one of the big make or breaks when trying to do Megaten in tabletop form. Has been since day 1. Somewhat. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
情楽な情少年